Hey everybody, Darren Cross here. Welcome to Module 5. We're over the hump, Business 400, Driving Business Opportunities. So we've been building on our idea. In the very beginning of this course, you started with an innovative idea that you were going to introduce, and we've been working that idea throughout all of the modules. Last module, we started working on the business model canvas, and so we're going to dig in a little bit more deeply to clarify some of those assumptions of your business model canvas. And also what we're going to do is we're going to integrate the other issues outside of profit that relate to business. So we're going to talk about corporate social responsibility, or CSR. We're going to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI. So when we traditionally think about business, we think about the bottom line, right? And everybody here who's an accounting major, you know that we always talk about the bottom line. What's the bottom line? We're talking about the bottom line of an income statement, which is basically about profit, right? Well, when we are thinking about concepts like DEI and CSR, the concept of the bottom line has evolved to the triple bottom line. So instead of only being about profit, now we've started to realize that companies can benefit by thinking beyond just the bottom line. And we think about people, the planet, and profit. And so it goes into this thinking beyond just what's happening financially. And I can tell you that when we think about why we care about CSR, corporate social responsibility, it's because actually, even though it costs some money or there's an investment to put some of these things in place, it benefits us to think about a sustainable planet. And there are a lot of marketable things that you can put out, that companies can put out there, that actually end up impacting profit in the end anyway. When it comes to DEI, of course, we want to have a diverse and inclusive workforce. And, you know, as I've taught courses like this, I actually teach some diversity courses. When I teach these courses, what I realize is that there's a group of people who feel like, yes, this is way overdue and we need to just push all the way up against the wall these new concepts, and we need to force you to think differently about things. And then there are other people who are like, wait a minute, I'm just trying to be a good person, and I feel like you're kind of pushing some of this stuff in my face. Here's the deal. Diversity is good for business. Research suggests that a more diverse workforce actually is more profitable. And that makes sense when you think about the fact that there's a diversity of ideas. A diversity of culture and a diversity of people means that there's a diversity of ideas. The other thing to consider, this is actually in my realm of specialty. My dissertation was focused on job retention, turnover intention, and things like that. So in my studies, I actually looked at what causes people to leave. And there's this theory called the job embeddedness theory. One of the big dimensions of job embeddedness is the concept of fit. And that is an employee's perception of whether or not they feel like they actually fit within an organization. When we look at what that means in the world of DEI, that's inclusion. And so we have a lot of well-meaning people who want to do the best thing. And when we talk about DEI, what we're really saying is, can we think a little bit more deeply about how to make people feel more inclusive? If the way we normally do business ends up in a disparate impact on a certain population of people, then perhaps we didn't do ourselves justice by not having a platform or a canvas in which everyone can feel like they're being included. And so we're just going to examine some of those things, and you're going to look at what that really means in your company. Now, this week, the DEI and CSR parts are going to be included in your discussions. And so you're going to be talking about how you can include some of these concepts into your business project. What I can tell you is, what I don't want to see in the discussions, I don't want to put a limit on how you're really thinking, but how do I really want to say that? What I would like to see is for you to think progressively about the concept of incentive, okay, rather than mandates. So sometimes I've seen people say, in order to make sure that I'm going to have a diverse workforce, I'm going to mandate that people do this, or mandate this activity. I'm going to have a certain number of people from different cultures. The problem with that is that you're painting the line between between the action that you're trying to combat against and the action that you're actually doing, right? So it's like you're kind of doing those same things. So I just want you to be thoughtful about that. But if you all are seeing that in the discussion boards, that's something that you definitely should be challenging people on. Okay. The other thing that we're going to do is we're actually going to dig a little bit more deeply into your business model canvas. And what I wanted to do again is go over the prompt. So you're going to do the mile 2 guidelines, or the milestone 2 assignment. So I wanted to go over the guidelines and the rubric. Now, again, I've said this over and over. What I want you all to do is I want you to look at the elements of the prompt, and I want you to have these as headings on your assignments. It's going to make it so much easier for you to do this. I want you to just have these as headings on your assignment. Now, this is, I believe this is a slide deck. Let me see here. Yeah, you're going to create a slide deck. So you are going to have this is actually going to be a PowerPoint slide. So it is going to be a little bit different, but I want you to address each of these elements, okay? I want you to address each of these elements. So let's talk about them specifically. When we talk about delivering a unique value proposition, I have been hammering this since the beginning. A lot of you have gotten there. Some of you are not there yet. Value with respect to our value proposition means something very, very specific. And it's not about, is my company valuable? It's not about, do they have core values? This is about delivering value to your customer. In other words, your customer is looking at you and saying, I buy from them because I get value out of it. And what are the components of value? The benefit that I get versus the cost. So first and foremost, the benefit has to solve the need that I'm after, or that I'm trying to get satisfied. If I'm buying a drink, then I'm trying to quench my thirst, right? So if I'm buying a drink to quench my thirst, what are the extra things that go into it? Well, maybe it's the taste of it. Maybe it's the nutritional value of that drink. Maybe it's those are benefits, but then outside of that, when I'm looking at what I get for what I'm paying for it, that goes into the concept of value. That doesn't mean that you always want to have the lowest price. Sometimes people think things are valuable if you paid a higher price. That's a rare case, but the value equation is really about, am I getting my needs met? Am I getting extra benefits? And what am I paying for this? Is it worth it for me to do this? Are there other options for me to actually get my needs met? So I actually posted a couple of things about this. I posted the one video that's like more, it's something like food for thought on value propositions or something like that. And then in one of my announcement videos, I actually give you more detail on how to shape your value proposition. Your value is going to show up as a benefit, right? So it's like, this thing is convenient. This thing is faster than other options. This thing allows me to have access that I wouldn't previously have had. This thing is more, did I say convenient? It's more convenient than other products. This thing has a higher quality. It provides me with a variety of things. That's the kind of thing you're talking about, and not just people think it's valuable because they like it, right? You want to talk about what they're actually after and the extra things that they're getting. So you want to dig into that. When you're talking about your value proposition, you want to make sure that you're being innovative here, and you want to address these things. Number one, leveraging the blue ocean strategy. What makes the product or service unique? What are we really saying here? Why is our product different from other people? What are we doing that other companies or other competition, or the other ways that this need is satisfied they're not able to, or they're not willing to do? What is it about us? So how does it provide a strategic advantage in the marketplace? So, but based on that, why does it mean that we are going to end up getting more of the share of market? Okay. When we dig into more into the BMC, answer the key business model questions about the customer acquisitions. How are you actually going to do that? Like, what is your goal for getting customers? What are the different revenue models that you have? So you want to talk about the different modes, the different income centers that you're actually going to have. Or is there different ways that you actually can generate revenue? If you like, I'm a consultant, and there's some different revenue models in the consulting world, right? So I can charge a monthly retainer, which some people will be attracted to, or I could just say I'm going to bill you for my hours. Some people will be attracted to that, and some people might be attracted to the fact that I bill for specific jobs. So think about what that really means for where you are, and then you want to think about extra revenue streams as well. Price points for the product or service. What price do you think you're going to sell it at? And here's the thing, it's not always, lower isn't always better. If you think back to your econ class, I hope that you have taken econ, there's this concept called price elasticity of demand. The idea is when you're messing with that price, what's happening to overall revenue? You could lower your price, ending up in more sales, ending up in total higher revenue, or you could raise your price and end up with higher revenue or lower revenue if your sales decline. The idea is you got to find the price point that the most people are going to buy at that ends up in the most total revenue. Now, I don't expect you to do any economic models or pricing models or anything like that, but just give me something that makes sense with regard to this. What are the key activities that your company needs to be good at in order to deliver that value that you say you're going to deliver? Okay, here's some more elements about the key assets, partners, and cost structure. So what are the key assets that your company has that you think will make you successful? Are there some notable ones that are missing? You need to note that. What do we have? What do we need? And that's really with all of this stuff. Like if there's anything that falls into that model, what do we have? What do we need? What are the key partners that you think you'll need to be successful? Which ones do you already have? Which ones do you think you still might need? Cost structures. Based upon what you're doing, is that going to change the financial model for you? So if you're changing up something about, if you're really doing a blue ocean strategy, it's innovative, is that going to impact the cost? Therefore, it's going to go into the pricing. So you need to talk about how cost structures are impacted. Now, you're not going to be giving me like a couple of paragraphs for each one of these. You can address these in a sentence or two. Okay, so I really want you to be super succinct, super focused. Going into the element number 4 here, import your existing business model canvas from Mod 4. So you want to put that slide in, and you're going to clarify business model assumptions. So is there anything new based upon digging in a little bit more deeply that you need to change on that chart? And you want to actually talk about these, right? So you want to refresh that. When you are ready to launch and you're ready to meet customers, how is that launch going to go? What resources do you need? How are you really going to do this? So talk about the materials that you're going to need. Update your documentation. So update these elements that you're going to see these on your business model or your business model canvas, but you're going to update your documentation. So do you need to actually target a different group? And here's the thing, if you had several targets, I want you to hone in on one and you can note which one you're going to hone in on here. And the reason why is if you're developing a marketing plan, your marketing plan is targeted to a specific group. A company may service several different groups, but each marketing plan goes to a specific group. Why? Because the marketing mix is catered to that group. The pricing, the actual features of the product, the pricing, where you place that, like how your distribution channels, how you're actually placing it so that it can get to the customer, and the way that you promote it. You're going to promote it in a way that is tuned specifically to that customer. And so you need to understand who that segment is. So I want you to figure out which specific segment you're going to address. If it's going to be the same one you already talked about, fine. That's fine. If not, update it here. Type of value. You're going to hone in on your value proposition. What type of value are you actually providing here? So I want you to dig in and make sure that that is updated and that you are clear on what you're doing. And you want to be clear on how the product is unique. So if you haven't really honed that until now, this is where you're going to talk about it. Okay? And then you're going to update your actual BMC chart. Now, a lot of my stuff is going to come up to here. I'm not going to be concerned. These are actually rubric items, but for the most part, if you have things here, these are gimme points. So you shouldn't mess up on these. Most of the critique is going to come from here. So here's what you're going to do for this assignment. actually download this PowerPoint template. Sorry, I should have had it opened. And this is the slide deck that you're actually going to use. I'm going to go ahead and enable this. Hang on 1 second here. We'll just go through it. So you're actually going to come through here and you're going to update this. So use this and just answer all of these questions as you go through. Okay? Now, again, I want you to make sure that you are addressing each of those elements specifically, because that's what we're after. The idea is I want you to be super specific about meeting the needs of this deck. And I should have said this in the beginning, but I want to go ahead and say it now. Anybody who's been in school for a long time, we know that part of the consideration for assignments is how long this assignment should be. I've been fighting this. I've been teaching since 2001. In my university that I retired from, I was director of the MBA program there, and I was very involved in the development of each of the courses in that program. And one of the things that I was fighting against all the time is this feeling to want to fluff things up to make the assignment seem more substantial. I do not see that when I read assignments. It's not more substantial if you have more words in there, okay? So I know that Snoo says some things like in a 3 to 5 page, whatever. This is me. I'm talking to you. What I want you to do is focus on good quality information without fluff. If it happens to be less than the page requirements, that's fine. What I can tell you is I haven't counted any pages yet. What I'm looking at is I'm looking for you to address each of the items in the prompt thoroughly and completely. With that, one of the things that I want you to resist is this urge to put a whole bunch of extra stuff in there. A lot of people just start putting stuff in that, and the challenge with that is that it gets you off track, and now you're not even talking about what's required by that element of the prompt. Okay, so I want you to just be succinct, direct, focused, talk about what's in the prompt, and if you find that you're getting off track, just get yourself back on track, right? If you feel like you're rambling, you probably are. Get yourself back on track. Here are a couple of things that help you, and I want to reiterate this. When you're writing, this is going forward with the assignments. When you're writing, take the elements of the prompt, make them your headings. That's going to be super helpful because that's going to tell you what you need to talk about. If you find that you're talking about something that heading doesn't represent, then you're getting off in the weeds, okay? Another thing that I want you to do, I think everybody here is familiar with APA. As I look at the rubrics, they require that citations and things like that are in line with APA. So anything that you write should be in line with APA as well. So use an APA template to submit all of your assignments. What does that really mean? You're going to have a specific kind of cover page. You're going to have your running titles or your running heads. You're going to have those headings, and those headings are formatted in a specific way as well. In addition to that, your paragraphs are going to be formatted in a different way. Or in a specific way. So you want to make sure that you have an indent with each one. You don't want to have these extra spaces in between paragraphs. And also, you want to make sure that your paragraphs are 3 to 5 sentences. I believe, based upon what I see you all writing, I believe that somewhere along the line, somebody in your program told you all to just write one paragraph for one big super long paragraph for each prompt or something like that. You should have 3 to 5 sentences in a paragraph. If you start to get into a 6th sentence to make a point, you're probably getting off in the woods. If you do have a 6th sentence, nobody's going to care. But if you start getting into that 7th and 8th sentence, you are getting off focus. Okay, so keep your paragraphs between 3 to 5 sentences. That's going to help to keep you focused. All right, and stay with the same format for everything. Right, so you have that title page, you have your headings, and then you have your reference page. Make sure that it all looks smooth, okay? I think that's it. I am going to post some additional resources about CSR and DEI for this module. But if you have any questions at all, please reach out to me. Again, I want to encourage you. You all have my cell phone number. The quickest way to get to me is to text me. I actually had an issue with my email. I had my email on my laptop so that I can just go directly through my Outlook with my other emails, and it was working. I thought I was out of the woods on that, but then all of a sudden it stopped working, and I realized that some people were trying to get a hold of me, and I didn't realize it. So I am a lot better about getting into my SNU email, but what I want you to do is feel free to text me if you're working on something and you're challenged. You can just say, hey, this is so-and-so from your Business 400 class. I have a question about this. I don't care what time of night it is. If I'm up, I'll shoot you back a text and try to give you some clarity. If not, then we can set up a time to talk for that works with both of us, so we can go from there. But I don't want you to be sitting there stranded with an assignment, okay? One final thing that I want to note. I already talked about this in the announcement today, but one final thing that I want to note. I'm grading your Module 4 assignments, and my goal is to have them done by Tuesday night. The reason why I'm trying to get them done so early in the week is because this is your business model canvas, and you're now working on the next element of your business model canvas. So this is one of those weeks where you can benefit from seeing my comments on your assignment. So I do not want you to start your business model slide deck that we just talked about until Wednesday. I will have everything graded by Tuesday night. So I don't want you to start until Wednesday. But in the meantime, go through all of those materials, learn all of the stuff that we need to learn in this module, and you can go ahead and start your discussion this week. But please do not start that business model canvas until Wednesday after you've had the benefit of my comments on your Mod 4 assignments, okay? So good luck, everyone, and please reach out if you have any questions at all. Have a good week.